Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to an afternoon edition of the official Tyesse Report. Hey, Arvell, Jose, Latanya, Terry, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Can I be honest? I am not about to be long. I'm not. I'm just being honest right out the gate. I have things to do. I have shows to produce. I know you are, Bam Bam. I got shows to produce. I got things to do, y'all. So I'm not going to be long. I know we say that all the time, and then we want to be here for 2 hours. But I thought this would be a really great time because I have a little lull in the afternoon. So I said I could throw this in here because I got this information this morning, and I said, well, I'm gonna see if I can do a 12 or maybe a 1 o'clock because I miss you too, sis. I'll be coming home soon. And I'm going to keep that apartment as long as I can keep it. So I always have a place to stay when I go to LA. I don't have to get a hotel. I'm going to keep my house as long as I can afford it. What was I at? Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's what's going on, Task Squad. Can you do me a big favor? Unfortunately, I'm not going to send out any notifications because I am not trying to be here long. So I apologize if you did not get a notification, but I'm sure your fellow Task Squad members will let you know that I'm live and I'm on the air right now, right? But I'm not sending out any notifications because I'm not trying to get trapped on here and a woman don't lose conversation today, y'all. I can't do it today. Okay, we got that. What are we looking for? Oh, there we go. Okay, we're gonna wait a few more minutes. Just maybe 60 seconds more for a few more people to get situated. Do me a big favor, everybody. Can you please hit the like button? Hey, Brandon. Hey, everybody. Talton, Janai, Jason, Gladys Terrell. Hey, everybody. I'm not going to keep the fire burning. I'm going to keep the fire burning and take my ass back and produce my evening show, what I was doing. No, honey. I'm a content creator. These girls are YouTube panel facilitators. You know, these other girls, they bring other girls up and it fills the show out. You know what I'm saying? They don't really do a lot of work. It's not hard, y'all, getting on your show and talking about doing a whole hit job on Larry Reed every day. That's not hard. I'm sorry, it's not. Like, all you have to do is just get up and just say, okay, today, let me read again. Let's see what we can come up with today. That's not hard. I'm sorry. You're not doing any work. You're not doing anything. You're not doing much. Okay. Baby, it's going down in the town. It is. Okay. We're 45 seconds. We're almost ready to start, everybody. If you want to let one of your Tyesse Squad members know that we're live on the air, you can. Exactly, Travis. All right. And let's start. Let's get started. I received the inbox from one of our beloveds in the Tyesse Squad. And there was a post that a lady had posted, a young woman posted. I posted it in Patreon. I'm not going to share it here. Okay, but it is in Patreon. And one of our beloveds shared it with me. Yesterday, I had already said that a woman had reached out to me from the area, from the Charlotte area. And well, now that it's being discussed, I can open up a little bit more. Because here at the Tyesse Report, we don't break tea. We, you know what I'm saying? We discussed it already after it's been broken, or if someone has already put it forth, then we talk about it. Y'all saw it over there in Patreon? Okay. And I cropped out her name because y'all know we got them people up in the Patreon. You know, the bone carriers, and if they find it, let them find it on their own. I cropped her name out purposely because, you know, we got the infiltrators, they even in Patreon, right? So you want to go find the post, go look for it. Well, I know y'all say, Tyesse, you can't stand them people. I cannot. None of them. If you want to find a lady, go look for her. So a lot of y'all saw it already. I posted it in Patreon, right? And as I said yesterday, someone had reached out to me and said, basically, you know, that this incident with the young woman is not an isolated incident. Now, we know Brian Carn's history, y'all, right? We know the history. So it's not like, okay, when somebody says something, it's not like it's shocking, because it's actually fodder now in the church community. The blogger community, it's kind of like fodder now. It's kind of like, well, you know, Brian Carn, honey, I wouldn't leave my wife around. You know, it's kind of like that now, right? And so what the young woman said, and I'm gonna just do a little quote from what she said, if that's okay, Tyesse Squad. I'm gonna do a little quote from what the young woman said. And she also, I haven't posted it, but she also posted an alleged inbox DM from Brian Carn. From Brian Carn, she did. Let me give you just an excerpt of what she said, everybody. She said, "It is very sickening to see that women are still being taken advantage of in the name of God. At the end of the day, people's souls are on the line. God is not pleased. So many women have reached out to me and shared their story with me, and say all this to say there is a huge lack of responsibility." And then she goes on to say, "Let today be the day of truth to set your soul free. Let's stop confusing, hiding, holding secrets with covering." And so, did y'all hear that? All right. And so, Tyesse Squad, new followers and friends, everybody under the sound of my voice, you know, as I said, like, it doesn't take much for the young woman that posted her, you know, the original diatribe or post. It don't take much for her to do a gathering or go out and start gathering people or putting bugs in women's ears, right? if that is her goal, if that's something she wants to. It don't take much for that to happen. But sometimes another woman don't have to put a bug in your ear. Sometimes this thing can be organic. Like I said, one woman can see another woman and she gets courage, and then she comes forward. Right? I said it yesterday, y'all. I was very clear. I'm always going to be right in the middle on these things. I'm never going to go one side over the other. I said yesterday, even in Patreon, some of y'all remember I said last night in Patreon, we cannot get to the point where we say, because a pastor is single, that he has a right to be out here plowing everything in sight. And Brother Jabray yesterday asked the question. He really asked a really solid, what is the answer? What do we do? And I let him know, I really don't know what we can do because it's so far gone now. Hey, Emmanuel. Somebody will say, well, I really don't know what can be done because people are not affected in the church like that no more, y'all. They're not. Maybe we have become numb to it, or it happens so much that people are just like, it's like the norm. Like that's what the norm is. There's church scandals. It's two things we just cannot, these talking points, we got to be careful with, y'all. He's single, or she's single. So, listen, that's a life. And then the other talking point is, I've seen somebody in the chat yesterday say this, y'all. What has been going on, it's been happening for a long time, and this ain't nothing new. I mean, we can't be doing it. This ain't nothing new, y'all. As a conversation talking point. We said that last night in Patreon, CC. Was that Patreon? We said that already as well. I mean, if there's no repercussions, if there are no repercussions, there is no incentive to change. Ooh, that's heavy, Tyesse. Ooh, that's heavy. If there's no if you don't have anything to happen to you, what is the incentive to change? But there's a bigger conversation even on top of that, y'all. There's a bigger conversation on top of that. Black women make up like 75% of the church, in my opinion, y'all. Black women are the biggest demographic in the Black church. And so there is so many layers to the Black woman in the pastor dynamic. I've seen it in my own life. I'm nearly 50 years old. A lot of times these pastors become almost like a husband to these women by proxy. And I'm not even talking about intimacy. Like I'm talking about the congregation. A lot of women look up to their pastors like they'll say they man. And so because of that, they become overly protective of them. And they also ignore. And cover. Anthony says, I've seen many women regarding corn. You can't make me hate him. I still love the man of God. So many are under a spell. We've seen that scenario with most of these charismatic, popular preachers. The bottom line is he still has the gift, and that goes without repentance. I just wish that he would stop this foolishness. Is a scandal loading? Well, we have to give it a couple of more days, y'all. Is there a scandal loading? Based on this woman's post, she talking about multiple women have reached out to her. And when you say multiple women, you're like, oh my God. She said multiple women have reached out to her. So I don't know, y'all. All this is alleged, of course. But we can't sit up here and play dumb like we haven't heard this stuff before either. Gigi said the same thing. She did. And so you do have to take it with a grain of salt until you see the other people. You know? Hold on a second. Let me get the sneeze out. Kimberly Reeves says she didn't mind getting cheated on when she was with Demetrius' synagogue wife, when Carn was with Demetrius' synagogue wife. Is it loading or is she going to be paid off? Well, nephew, envelopes usually stop the influx of the scandal. Now, if the envelope is properly, even a payment plan, now they're doing payment plans, nephew. I don't know. Kimberly makes a good point. Kimberly makes a good point, y'all. The scandal happened if you was with the man for 10 years. If you was with the man 10 years, the Demetrius synagogue situation happened while y'all was together. Ooh, Jesus. BT daughter says, I was on KCC live Bible study last night. The comments was bad in the live. They cut the comments off. Well, them comments on this woman post was kind of heavy too. Yeah, the comments on this woman post was kind of heavy, y'all. Listen, y'all, I got a show to produce. I can't be here all day. I love y'all. Y'all know how I feel about y'all. One woman over in the comments said, she said, I'm glad we left and my mom was able to send something wrong years ago. I'm sorry you're going through this. I couldn't breathe when I heard what was going on. God is definitely exposing. I pray for you and any other woman that was involved. That's comment number 1 on this post, y'all. I'm going up there Sunday. Yeah, nephew, go back there and look in the back and see what the hell is going on over there. People say, well, Tyesse, I see it was a question mark on your thumbnail. I mean, what do we do? Are we waiting for a scandal? I'm not waiting for nothing. Okay, I'm not waiting for anything. It's a question mark there because I'm looking at this woman post. I'm reading these comments. Here's another lady. She said, it takes boldness to speak to this. I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry and glad you left. It takes deep and loving conviction of God to leave anything toxic. It's just woman after woman after woman over here. Y'all listen, I'm going to get on down the highway. If there's a scandal, if it loads, if it completely loads, we'll be back. But I don't know what else to say, y'all. I don't know. These women seem like they're ready to talk. They're right on the edge. They turn left, then they turn right, and they walking right to that edge. They right there, y'all. It ain't like we want this for Prophet Carn. Nobody wants this for nobody. But listen, things happen. One could have as many wives as you could afford, but we never got to hear the woman's emotions on it. And the narrative, no way it was all peaches and cream. Okay, Travis. My nephew said he going up there Sunday. I'm sorry, Roslyn Harrison. I agree with you to an extent. But when these kind of things are repetitive and done on purpose with arrogance, there needs to be accountability. He's clearly not willing. I couldn't sit there through all that. I flash out. Well, everybody in this chat over here, CC, talking about, yeah, I left 2 years ago. Yeah, I was out 3 months ago. Like, It just seems like it's just, like a revolving door over there at the church. Like people are leaving. When 4 people leave, it looks like 5 people come. So I guess that's why your numbers are not really affected, because it's like an airport. 10 years, no ring, no public announcement. Ooh. And remember, the post that I'm reading is not the original lady. We want to be very clear. This is a new lady. Power is an unusual drug that we all can fall prey to. However, some of the issue is discretion, in my opinion. I just think as pastors, you do not have to be perfect. I saw that. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that young man, the young minister that was over here, and he was asking for money, and he was really trying to get the aim in Phoenix. Y'all remember he was over here about 3 months ago, 4 months ago. He's a young guy. He looked it but he said he was young. I know y'all remember that guy. He was trying to get to Phoenix, but he was trying to, Y'all remember him? Okay, he did a post for BRIAN CARN. He did a post for BRIAN CARN, and BRIAN CARN, I believe, reposted it. And he said, y'all are holding pastors. A young man said, y'all are holding pastors to a standard, that y'all don't even live. That is a nice, analogy. It really is. But I do believe that there is a difference between the parishioner and the pastor. There is a big difference between a pastor who's leading the flock and the flock. The flock is coming here with all kinds of issues. We understand the pastor is not immune. I'm trying to see some comments I missed, y'all. Bishop Bonnie Radin says, Tyesse, as a mental health professional, too many of our people have deep wounds and are reaching in the wrong place to heal. What they don't know needs healed in their lives. What they don't know needs healed in their lives. Well, here's the thing, Bishop Radin. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. There was a situation at my church, my old church, where one of my close friends brought his boyfriend to the church for counseling with him. And one of the ministers that was at the church, that's no longer there, he's retired now, but he wound up sleeping with the boy. So I brought my boyfriend to church for counseling. We came up here to talk and get some stuff straightened out, and you wind up blowing the boy's back out. It is so hard now, you guys, to even begin, Bishop Radin, to start doing the work when the people that you usually go to for the work are the ones doing the most harm. Like, you don't even I can't even go to. I can't even go over here to the pastor and talk to him because I may be bent over a desk. Michelle says, Top Squad family, I learned early from Catholic priests and nuns not to look at people for spiritual guidance. I think Bishop Radin is also talking about what she's speaking to is we gotta handle a lot of our traumas because we are already ripe for the picking once we over at the church. Maybe that's what Bishop Radin is talking about. Like we gotta we got to start handling a lot of this trauma, because once we get in these environments, honey, it's so easy to be spiritually manipulated and raked over the damn, church house coals. I blame the church. They created this vicious cycle inside of him by ignoring the need for training and sexual integrity. Hence, Prophet Carn now has no guardrails, is unchecked and horny. Well, tell us how you really feel, Travis. What's your real... There's another component to this, y'all. It is well known that Prophet Carn is a great money raiser, a great bucket filler. And so those people oftentimes get a little more leeway, a little more, because if you good with them damn buckets, you know what I'm saying, you might, get a little extra grace, more grace. No pun intended. I was being facetious there, not little, but I fully understand your point. Oh, okay. I remember there were people that laid Bishop Senegal out. There were people that laid him to bed, y'all. They said everything was fine. Everything was good. Until you didn't pay attention to nothing, and there were no red flags until the man had, allegedly, touched and humped on your wife. What's her name? LaQuinta. And then once it came to your door, then you want to do a public rebuke. Senegal. Hey, sis. Nobody's asking you to be perfect. We're asking you to uphold the standard of the office you believe God called you in. If not, sit down. The not perfect argument is getting old. I agree. I agree. At some point, y'all, listen. Your pastor cannot be out here on jacked. Your pastor cannot have 3 accounts on POF. I don't think that's too much to ask for, y'all. Yes, pastors struggle. Pastors are human. Yes, he's single. Yes, he's still a man. We get it. Carn said his mama has a new house and she don't work. I cannot. Pam, you shut the whole chat down with that one, sis. We may have to put that on a little card or something, a little index card. Hey, Wayne. Carn said his mama has a new house and she don't work. I stopped giving a seed a long time ago. It's wrong. Now listen, I'm with Larry. I'm with brother. They said you gonna agree with Larry on everything. I get it. I'm with Larry. I think we have to be very, very careful, y'all, when we get to talking about seeds and get to talking about people's buckets. He disagree with Larry on everything. Larry can say the moon is green. He'll agree with it. But I think we have to, because, the church is a lifeline, and it is, listen, whether you like it or not, y'all, it is a business. Okay? I think we just have to be careful, Kimberly, when we start talking about the seeds and the buckets and the stuff. Whew. But your point is well taken and duly noted. I can't make nobody give a seed. I can't make you stop giving a seed. Okay? A Virgo babe, there wouldn't be a need for a rebuke or a sit down if he was really trained to do right from the start. Okay, Travis. Hey, Larry, I was just talking about you. Literally. What's POF? Oh, POF is plenty of fish. Be careful on that plenty of fish. They're robbing the girls over there on plenty of fish, y'all. They tying you up, and the boys now on plenty of fish, they'll have an intimate relation with you, complete everything, and then tie you up and rob you at gunpoint. They come with the tools. They take the whole flat screen out the wall. The boys over there come with the tools. They come with the The screwdriver, electric drills, everything. They take your flat screens, all of your vases and stuff, and your the silverware. Yeah, that's what they do now. PO is still a thing. Christopher, where you living? You must live in a rural area. One of my homegirls just got unalived. She used to stay on plenty of they unalived her over there in Las Vegas. That was her site. There's plenty of fish. Listening while working. Okay. If you have the Spirit of God on you, it's no excuse. The Spirit will let you know when you're wrong. I think, here's the thing. I think when you get people that are serial fleshmongers. Is that a word? When you got people that are serial fleshmongers, Paul, I think they feel like this is not scientific. This is my thoughts, brother. I think they feel like, hell, this is a part of the job. I mean, listen, I go through a lot in ministry. I can have one thorn in my side. I can have one thorn in my hip. I think they rationalize it and make excuses for it. I wish Brian, I wish you was over here watching corporations pay thousands of dollars for this type of research. For this type of, you can see these comments and get a feel. Brian, corporations pay thousands of dollars for this type of research. They do. Larry says the money thing is not a combo in white churches. It's in black churches by white design. Interesting. I thought that was gone a long time ago. No, Christopher is still here. It's still around, Christopher. Christopher, you must work a lot, Christopher. You work a lot. You be up there at their job a lot, huh? Take the shoes off your feet. They will take your underwear off you, the men over there robbing you on the dating apps. Elder Tyesse, I'm going to Bishop C Church. I would not be giving a physical seed. If I'm going to Bishop C Church, I would not be giving a physical seed and a monetary seed. He gets one or the other, not both. Okay, Michelle, you need to unpack that a little bit because I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, sis. Okay, Michelle said, if I'm going to Bishop Carn Church, I think that's what she means, I will not be given a physical seed and a monetary seed. He gets one or okay. What's a physical seed? I'm new. This is my first day on YouTube. What's a physical seed, Shell? They'll take your mail too. They'll check your mailbox on their way to their car. Tiffany Williams says, I was involved with a pastor before. When I saw that he was using the majority of women in church, I got out of there. But you didn't do no 18 videos, huh, Tiffany? Like the kickball lady did with EJ. Have y'all seen EJ's latest video? He was in a car yesterday looking distressed. And he said they going to do a 3-day fast. Prophet Logan just did a fast. Now here you come talking, we need to do a 3-day fast. Oh my God, I cannot. These pastors are freaks. Williams Patreon has proved that. I saw a couple of posts from Williams Patreon. I get notifications. Now, listen. Okay, let me, one of the pastors he just posted, that's from like maybe close to 2 years ago now. But it's still, it's still like galling when you see it. That pastor he just posted. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot going on. Because see, if you look at that particular video, the man looks back at the camera. So you knew you were being recorded. And you still was in the room with the boy. And then you having bareback sex and you have a wife. You look back at the camera You know you're being recorded. And then the boy is an OnlyFans creator. Like some of this stuff, y'all, I'm sorry, some of this stuff is like, are y'all serious? I cannot. I can't do it. Y'all, it's well-known pastor. Y'all, it's not a well-known pastor. It was a pastor in a little country church. They say those are the pastors that really make your toes curl, Tiffany. They say those are the ones that make you bite the headboard. Who's the afternoon show? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a daytime show. I'm so behind in these comments. You're not getting booty and tie. Oh, y'all are vicious. Okay. I'm picking up what you put down, Michelle. Oh, physical seed. I just got it. Oh my God. So I'm paying you, I'm giving you a seed, and then you're gonna put a seed up in me. Oh my God, I got it. Man, that's crazy. Not bite the head. Yeah, those passes make you bite the headboard. Overseer Holly is close to saying his seed can't mean your body. I'm sorry, my brain can't. Not a load, but a seed is holiness of hell. They've been saying that. That is the problem, y'all. I think the holiness of hell, that started the whole road to people being so scared, Theo. They are so terrified. That's why they do everything in secrecy. We got all these damn secrets and stuff going on, y'all. Lord, I have seen this 1,000,001 times. My father was a bishop, and I believe he was walking upright, but I told him, if you must, don't let her be at your church. I remember these pastors back in the day, man. I mean, listen, they was juggling like 10 or 12. In my day, in the 80s, in the 80s, they was juggling 10 or 12, y'all, for real. I don't know what the number is for these new cats, y'all, but they was juggling about 10 or 12 back in the 80s because they were going on the road, y'all. Back in those days, a lot of pastors didn't even fly. They drove to, other cities. And so, and back in those days, families would put you up. The pastors didn't even have to go and stay at a hotel. There'll be people that put you up in that town. So they would drive from Atlanta to Charlotte, and then, from Charlotte to Columbus, Those were the days. Those were the days. Will this blow over? Will this blow over? Is this post from this woman that I read? Is this, a par for the course of the modern day, church scandal? There's gonna be a couple of posts. Yeah, I know them too. Yeah, I had them too. Is that kind of like the new thing now? We have to expect these posts. I should just read the whole post. I should. Okay, I think I'm gonna read the whole post. I'm gonna read the whole post. I left KCC 5 years ago. And to be honest, this has been the most traumatic experience of my life. To this day, I struggle with attending any church. And I was raised in the church. I've never seen or experienced anything to this magnitude. I've struggled and lost so much in the midst of my transition. It's very sickening to see that women are still being taken advantage of in the name of God. At the end of the day, people's souls are on the line. God is not pleased. So many women have reached out to me and shared their story with me. And I say all this to say there is a huge lack of accountability. Let today be the day of truth to set your soul free. Let's stop confusing, hiding, holding secrets with covering. We all have to answer to God one day. And it ends with the scripture, woe to the shepherds who are destroying and scattering the sheep of my pasture, declares the Lord. Jeremiah 23:1. Sound like the woman is asking some type of, a casting call. I'm not trying to be, dismissive, but it sounds like a casting call. He said, let today be your day of truth to set your soul free. I think she's looking for more people to be, they've all reached out to her, but I think she's looking for more people to come out, like, publicly. That's what it sounds like. Because with the DM that I got the other day concerning this matter, it was said that a lot of women don't want to talk about it because they are in fear of being ridiculed and shamed. So people don't come out and talk about this stuff because, listen, you are kind of like social media. They will pick your story apart. We offer grace. To people to an extent, but woo, child, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I think a lot of the discussion around Sister Vashti, I was told her name is Vashti. Thank you, Timbri. Timbri said it's Vashti. Okay, Vashti. So I was told, that it's Vashti. But here's the deal. I just lost my thought. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, wait now. Women need to be held accountable as well. I'm a woman. If I lay down with a man willingly, I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't put this all on these men. It takes two. Yeah, it does. It does. That was my point. Thank you. My point is that I think we hear the stories and we shape our commentary based on what you have presented to us. And so Sister Vashti gave us basically, I was in a relationship for 10 years. And evidently, listen, all the freak potions was not enough to keep him satisfied. And I'm kind of like ready to move on. I gotta go because this is not working. You're not gonna marry me, and I need to go. But on my way out, I just want to leave a note on the door for the saints. So that's what you give us, and that's what people are going to do their commentary on. Okay, are we clear? You gave us, well, basically, CC, yeah, you let a man play in your face for 10 years, and on your way out, you want to leave a note on the front of the door for the church members when they come in on Sunday. These single pastors and members who decide to sleep with each other is their business. It's not always predatory. Sexuality and attraction is nuanced. Not saying it's ethically correct, but it's reality. Yeah, but see, Larry, that's problematic. The first part is problematic. The single pastors and members who decide to sleep with each other is their business. That's I mean, if that's where we're at, we can declare that that's where we're at. The single pastors and the members who decide to sleep with each other, and that's where we're at, y'all. We need to declare that. Like, y'all, this is crazy. I don't want to think this is crazy. My pastor is single. Yeah, he got hoes. Yeah, I know this can't be real, y'all. I'm sorry. This is not real life. This is some type of parallel universe we're living in. Yes, pastors are human. Yes, pastors struggle. Your pastor should not have multiple hoes. Well, I'm not calling these women hoes. I'm sorry, y'all. That's the colloquialism we call side chicks and jump offs. So not calling these women hoes. Please be clear, y'all. Okay. That's a throwback to Ludacris song. I got hoes and area codes. Okay. When a single pastor sleeps with a single member, is that always predatory on the pastor? For sometimes they are pursued by the men are hoes too. Yeah, but it's okay, Harold. We don't hear about Carletta Vaughn and you know what I'm saying, Juanita Bynum. Well, scratch that. Scratch Juanita Bynum. We don't hear about, you know what I'm saying, Cindy Trim out here doing the most. But Larry, you know they play victim when they willingly participated. Okay, y'all. So here's the deal. Let's go ahead and do the declaration today. Your pastor, if he's single, he got options. Save your emails. I'm not laughing at that, y'all. It was funny to me. I'm not laughing. I mean, we just have to just start declaring this stuff. This is how it is. This is how it is, y'all. Your pastors out here like, hey, you know. Brian Carn's conference is a month, and I don't know, y'all. I don't think his conference would be canceled. Not at all. Wait. So the single pastor only allowed to date outside of the church, or the lady fellas at the church down the street? Let me drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link. Anybody want to come up? Feel free to come up. We're gonna take about 15 minutes and we're out of here, y'all. We're gonna take 15 minutes. If you like to come up, this cannot be real. Like, we're not here. We get it. We understand pastors are single. We understand that pastors, you don't have a hard time. But we cannot be sitting here talking about the pastor. Listen, he got a lot of things he's dealing with. Woo. Oh, he won't count. No, hell no, he didn't cancel that damn. TD Jake's on the lineup. You know, folks aren't coming up. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're scared. His conference will probably be. Oh yeah, it's gonna be double the people now. TD Jake's supposed to preach at the conference. So at what point do Christians, those who are going to be saved, bring their flesh under subjection? They don't. That's the thing. Okay, let me drop the link, everybody. Not everybody rush the mic at once. I'm gonna drop the link. Oh my God. The link is available for any and everybody. Speak now, forever hold your peace. I said I wasn't coming back and touching this unless there's some new development. And this woman emptied her guts on her Facebook post was enough for me to get a live together, y'all. It's all about ethics, and that goes for both participants. All right, we got a heavy hitter in the green room. Hey, Cassandra.
Hey, Tyesse, let me turn my television down.
Okay.
So I can hear you. I said there was literally nobody but God, because my 12 o'clock session literally just canceled. Right in time for me to hear this conversation and for me to come up.
And okay, can I ask you this, Cassandra? Is this normal?
No, it's not. And I truly respect Larry Reed. I really.
Yeah. That's my brother until the wheels fall off.
Exactly. But Larry Reed is very off when it comes to this perspective. Okay. It is never okay. Now, I do agree with Larry. She is not a victim. Gigi is not a victim. And everybody else is. Nobody's a victim. Okay. But there is manipulation. And for people that don't know me, I'm a registered nurse for almost 40 years. I'm licensed psychotherapist, board certified in trauma-informed care, as well as neuropsych, addiction recovery, in all areas of most areas of mental health. So I'm actually educated and board certified. So I'm not one of these people that's feigning themselves to be an expert with no education. I have a ton of education.
Okay.
The reason why this is egregious on so many levels is you cannot put the office of the prophet, the bishop, the apostle, the fivefold ministry leaders in the same vein as secular society and just make it be human and flesh and men and women and things of that nature. And I'm not innocent, either. I have, but when I was with whomever I was with, I knew it wasn't victimization issues. It was me making a decision. Okay. And so we've got to stop, with the victim mentality. I do agree with him on. But when you're looking at leaders who cover your soul, who if we're not making a decision to be led, I don't know why my screen is narrow, but nevertheless, we're not making a decision to be led by morally corrupt pastors. I do not want a morally corrupt pastor leading me. If I know it's corrupt, I don't want you covering my soul. So the only way that is not a violation is if you get up before your congregation and you let us know your moral stance, whatever it is, and then let us decide if we want you covering us. But I am very, very, very aware. I'm headed to Harvard this weekend for a spiritual retreat in Harvard School of Divinity, because we've got to be. It's a Buddhist spiritual retreat, but I'm broadening my perspective on spirituality in general, not just Christian spirituality. But it is absolute. Look at what Brian. I'm glad Larry put that up there. Let me tell you why it's manipulation, even though she's not a victim. Manipulation is when you use your mind to control the actions of somebody else. It is manipulation. One of my real good friends, everybody know me, knows Bishop Noel Jones is a very good friend of mine. I would not literally be who I am intellectually on so many levels without his friendship and without the way that he challenged me probably 20 years ago to start upgrading the way that I think in my education and things like that.
Okay, so
one thing.
So put a button right there with the Noah Jones.
No, I'm gonna tell you something that he told me. That's why.
Okay, well, hold on one second. Just hold that thought. Hold your thought. We're gonna try to let some other people, because you getting ready to get loose. I can feel it. So we're gonna come back to you. Hold your thought. Noah Jones was your last thought.
Okay, but it's not about him. It's just about a thought that he gave.
Okay, well, just hold that. Hold it for just a second.
It's manipulation.
Okay, hold it, because we're gonna let you close it out.
Okay. I have a client at once, so just
I got you. Don't worry about it.
I got to go for my next session.
Okay, how long do you have?
Really, I could just say what I have to say in 2 minutes and be done with it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so he said, I can be on the other side of the world and control you with my mind. I never have to touch you. I can control you with my mind. When BRIAN CARN text messages said, when he propositioned her for the threesome, well, I just have to be able to trust you because I know I can't trust. Then that puts manipulation there. That puts a prize that women are want, that woman want, and then you throw that out there. So even though it violates my moral stance, I'm gonna agree with it because, oh, he said he can trust me. He's giving me something that he can't give, that he don't generally give somebody else. So that's why it's manipulation. Victim, no. Manipulation, absolutely. If you just read the text messages, the use of the verbiage that he used, you're my wife, talking, I don't think they have kids together. Why was that included in it? I want to be with you for the rest of your life. You know darn well you don't want to be with that woman. It's spiritual manipulation. And because people are prophets and preachers, they think that this is of God. It's the same thing we saw with Gigi. So it's absolutely manipulation. And Larry's educated enough to know that. So I don't even know why he don't see that. But that's basically all, I could go on and on and on and on. You know that. But that's all I really want to say. It's egregious. Victim, no, absolutely is spiritual manipulation.
All right. And you can stick around until your appointment
Okay.
comes.
I'm going to stick around. Okay.
All right. CC, you're up next. CC, you're up next. Ross, you're up next. Let me unmute you, brother. Hold on. Okay, Ross, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm at work real quick. I'm at work and I'm just taking a 15-minute break. But this is a very good conversation. And I just wanted to say real quick, I have absolutely zero respect for Brian Carn. I think he's a fool. I think that he's a spiritual fool. I think that he plays on his looks. He plays on manipulation. And I think that I don't believe in his ministry at all. I don't. And I'm well oiled in the Holy Ghost. And he has him and like pastors, and I can name drop pastors that I know have history like him. They use their platforms for situations like this. And to get up and they rake their members over the coals about what they do. The way that he talks to women, especially, when I don't follow Brian Carn like that, but when silly clips come up in my feed about like how you talk to that lady that wouldn't fall out, that's because you don't got no control. You don't have no control over her. So what you do is you embarrass these people. Where is that biblical? Where is that ministry? And the thing that you are doing, the thing that you are flooring your congregation over, you're doing private plus some. And to say that people like him, and I'm not just talking about him per se, but I could go down a list of preachers, but I don't have the time with receipts, and I don't have the time right now. But for people to blame him, congregants and people that follow him, I get it. If you choose to follow people like that, that's fine. That has nothing to do with me and mine and my relationship with God. I don't, because for me, I have common sense with me, and I do what works with me. But what I'm saying is that for congregants to follow people like that and they know what's going on, it makes me be like, because they're giving a pardon for they are giving a pardon for the pastors are giving a pardon. I'm sorry, I was reading Larry's comment. They're giving a pardon for the pastors can do all these things because they're single pastors, single, quote unquote. They could do all these things and then they're living worse lives than we are. They have more skeletons in their closets than we do, and they're not honest about it. And so when they're not honest about it, all this stuff comes out later on when you should have got your flesh under subjection. And I'm going to say it like that. I don't mean that from a self-righteous apostolic way. I mean it like this. I'm at work right now. I work in healthcare, work in mental health. I deal with patients. I deal with fine patients. I deal with patients that look good. I've gotten hit on by patients. I've gotten offered to be taken out to dinner by patients. And I've been tempted in my flesh because it looked nice on the plate. But I have to remember, working in a hospital is like it's ministry. And you cannot take advantage of a patient's condition because you're feeling some kind of way a day, or you see a sight. No, my job, when I took this job, I took I signed a thing under HIPAA where I would not cross the line with patients. And that's the accountability of these pastors taking these seats and claiming and being overseers and apostles and all this other stuff, and then and doing these same things that Carn is doing. Absolutely, you need to close all your churches and go sit down somewhere. And you need therapy, and you need to be lay on somebody's couch, and you need to be ministered to, because you're destroying lives by being reckless behind the doors. And that's all I got to say.
Well, all right. Well, thank you, Brother Ross.
You're welcome. And I love all of y'all.
We love you too.
And y'all have a great day at work.
All right. Have a great day.
All right.
Okay. So CC, you were next, and okay. So let me see if we can. Okay, unmute your mic, CC, and then we have Naida.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Here's my problem. Okay, I've been saying it in the chat. Welcome to the Players Club. Because first and foremost, it was all good as long as it was going their way, and as long as she thought she was getting the ring, it was okay to let him play in your face for 10 years. Same thing with Gigi. It was okay as long as you thought you were in the race to get the ring. And then when you don't get it, it's a problem. Like, these are grown women. They chose to lay down with these men. Yeah, they wrong for like pumping her head up, like saying things he said in the messages, and if he didn't mean it. But at the end of the day, if ignoring a red flag was a person, sis will be it. 10 years, you're not gonna play in my face for no 10 years, period. If he really wanted to marry you by year 3, 4, maybe even 5, he would have done that. So y'all can't put everything on the pastors and the prophets. But yeah, they supposedly have this standard they have to live up to, but who else is really like living up to it? And it's, first of all, it wouldn't be out here if Mad Day hadn't come. It's their business. You don't know what a man does or a woman does behind closed doors. We only know about this because they open their mouths up, and they're the ones running their mouths. When, like I said, when you expose Carn, you exposing yourself. So you have to, and like the kickball lady and accountability.
Go ahead.
Because you have to take accountability too, because it was all good. You was agreeing with everything was going on. Y'all agreed with everything. Y'all was good. Oh, the life was good until Mad Day came around. So welcome to the damn Players Club, period.
All right. Well, thank you so much, CC.
All right, mother. Love you.
All right. Love you too. Naida, you are up next. Thank you for being so patient.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And hello, Ty Squad. I did put a comment in the chat about not pooping when you eat and not dipping your pen in company ink. That's one. But the reason I came here is to just say, in every industry, there's a code of ethics. Yes. Even thieves have an honor code where they say there's honor among thieves, right? That's not to mean or keep anyone in the element of perfection. Is to manage consequences. Is to manage the risk. If you're leading a flock of people and you cross a boundary, the risk is detrimental. And so if you do that, you have to be willing to deal with the risk. And part of the risk is having someone come out on Mad Day and state their claim and tell their story. Another risk is an STD, or even worse, or an unplanned pregnancy. Like, these are all risks. And so this is why you have certain standards. This is why you have certain boundaries in place. So to be on the safe side, and I think it was Ross who brought it up, but even in his flesh said, if I could cross the boundary, I would. But what's going to happen? Shouldn't I just manage this risk by keeping to myself or going somewhere else where I won't harm the people that I work closely with, that I serve? Because what's happening now is there are people in the body and in his church that are seeing this. And yes, some will stay and hang on in there, but there are others who are now disillusioned, completely turned off. And I know we all have our journey. I definitely have my stories too, where my first pastor had an affair with another minister in the church. I left church. I was done. I went and studied all other religions. And I came back to Christ because I realized Christ is everywhere.
Ooh, that was rich.
Yeah, it's true. The thing that I think we have to be most careful of is not putting, yes, we're not going to put these men or women of God on a pedestal. We should put ourselves on that same pedestal if we do, and hold ourselves to that standard as well, so that when those men or women of God fall to their humanity or succumb to what comes natural to them, they deal with their consequence, and we're able to give the same grace we would want for ourselves. And that's just how I feel. Like all these people coming out with exposés, I feel like, okay, once you've exposed whomever you wanted to expose, now what? You're going to continue to expose because your third, fourth, fifth time, it's more than an expose. Now you got an axe to grind. Now you mad. And the saddest part about Vashti is she lost 10 years, potentially lost 10 years of her good time. I remember 20 something. I remember 20 something to 30 something. Those were some good years. I lost a few and I'm mad about it. She lost 10. So that's the most heartbreaking thing for me. Brian Carn can sow seeds till he's about to go in the ground. She doesn't have that type of time. And quiet as it's kept, she might not have that type of money to freeze eggs. I'm not in her business. I'm just thinking it's expensive to do that. And right now that's probably why her clock is ticking in other ways too, biologically and realistically. She's like, I don't have time. Anyway, my heart goes out to her, but I know right now she's probably communicating from a hurt place. And so a lot of what she says may not make the most sense to everybody. We're not going. You don't have to understand or agree with her moves. Just try to empathize if you can. These are 10 years of a young woman. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me share.
That was some really good commentary. Thank you so much, Naida. Crystal.
Naita. She said a lot of what I was going to say, including been all over, searched all over, and Jesus is my choice.
Naida, did you want to say?
You just heard me calling her name.
Go ahead.
And just now I'm gonna say something revolutionary. Sitting here listening to Naita help cultivate my point of view on this. You're right, sis. This is trying to see it from part of her point of view. This was 10 years of this young woman's life. And, whether we want to characterize it as mad day or not, it was still a decade. And whether she should have or not, apparently she had expectations. And now this is his fallout, from that. And he deserves some of this fallout from that. He participated in it. And so now, bruh, where's some of it? I don't agree that we're supposed to, treat the leadership of our church like they're the members in the pew when they do something wrong, but we're supposed to hold them in the highest of esteem at all other times. That is a bit of a cop-out to me. If you can be held in the highest of esteem and you are worthy of double honor when things are right, when things are wrong, you're still that person, right? And honestly, when you shouldn't have to be caught up in doing wrong, as that person that we hold in high esteem, we look to you to correct it before it even comes out. Like Angie Spivey in her church saying some things shouldn't even be named in the church. And as a human being, he has things and issues that he needs to, work on and work out himself. But my question is, what happened to good old, sitting down, stepping aside until you worked on those things that are less than, until you worked on those things that you wouldn't want your congregation and you wouldn't want the world to know about. Because if you want to keep something a secret, that's an indication of you think there's something wrong with it. And then finally, what I would just say, I was talking to someone in the side chat, is I just want to, Tyesse Squad, y'all know I love y'all, right? But can we just be cognizant of how we at each other and go at each other in the comments? When we're having these conversations, we're expressing different points of view, and we don't have to attack each other and name each other by name because we have a differing point of view. Even people, when they're not here, and hear my heart, even when they're not here, they have channels of their own. So they may be content creators, but they happen to be in the chat with us right now. Now, when they snap on y'all, they're going to be the bad guy, but y'all going hard. Just remember, everyone has a right to an opinion. It would be good if it was an informed opinion, but everyone has a right to an opinion, and no one needs to be attacked for an opinion.
All right. Well, thank you, Crystal. KT, can you hear me?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Tyesse. Yes, I can hear you clearly. I promise. Hello, everybody in the chat. I promise you I'm going to be very short because I'm not really clear on everything that's going on, who these women are, because honestly, I still don't follow a lot of people's channels to hear a lot of stuff. I picked up a few, but I don't comment much on nobody but you and a couple other people, Ty. A famous ball player had a quote, and I will be 62 this year, and I'm gonna speak on my own experience because we all have different points of views of how we're looking at this, whether it's him being wrong or her being mad. I'm learning for myself because I reached a point in a relationship I have been in for a length of time that I had to look at myself. And I had to reflect on, why am I still sticking around something that I am seeing that's not going anywhere at this point? And what I'm learning in my age, at this stage of my life, is this. Number one, you have to listen to your heart no matter what's going on. And if you choose to stay in it, be woman or man about it, and deal with the consequences until you're able to allow yourself to excuse yourself from it, learn from it, and move on. Or number two, you stay in it and you deal with whatever, but don't bleed it on everyone else or what's going on. I don't know anything about this BRIAN CARN guy. I don't follow him, don't know much about him. The thing that I am asking myself during this process of growing and learning and understanding who I am and God is, and I said it yesterday, Ty, how many people are really called and how many people are just taking the position? Sometimes these young guys or these young unmarried pastors, I don't know who's teaching them and where they're being led at. But some of these pastors may be led by some of these married pastors who still been doing a whole lot of stuff throughout their lives and had a harem of women, and they were never challenged or it was never brought to the forefront. But I'm going to say this and I'm going. There was a quote from a particular a ball player. He's very famous. He says, don't mess with somebody everybody wants because he has too many options. I'm going to drop off from there. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, KT. Before I get to Cassandra, because I'm going to let Cassandra close us out. Naida, if you could speak to, if you could speak to Vashti, if you could speak to her, and if you could speak to the new lady, as a woman that has experienced things in your life, what would you just say to them? Just sage advice.
My sage advice to any woman who is in a long-term relationship of high regard at high levels. Mm-hmm. We used to call them dealing with a top flight dude when I was growing up. You have to conduct yourself strategically, and you have to leave strategically. When you make emotional knee-jerk reactions, like posting your high-profile relationships laundry, you open yourself up to the type of commentary we're seeing now.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of vitriol from other women.
Yes.
Who have been through similar things, perhaps not at a high level or high or popularized, right? This is a very public type of person that she's dealing with. And so some of what you're hearing and reading online are women who are envious of where she was, the position she had, and how they believe she squandered that. Then you have other women who are sharing commentary from a judgmental place, who are saying, shame on you. You shouldn't have done that. I don't feel bad for you. I'm not sorry for you. You volunteered your time, your 10 years. I think if we all step back and look at this for what it is, a woman who was in love, and it appears to have been unrequited love or unbalanced in some way, where she was pouring in a lot, it seemed. And I'm only saying this from the video footage I saw last night on another platform, where she was pouring out this emotion and it just was not being returned. And yes, part of that could have been, because he was being recorded and he was uncomfortable with that. But you're not going to give me something that should have been a red flag. And I'm sure she is looking back, and she will look back at the red flags that she ignored, that she decided to ignore. And this is where my sage wisdom would be, peep those red flags early. Find someone, a woman mentor who has had high profile relationships, who can tell you how to move, how to secure your emotions if it all falls apart, how to make sure you're taken care of by you. Now, I'm not even saying he got to take it, he should, but I'm not saying he has to take care of you. If he does not take care of you, how are you going to take care of you should everything fall apart?
Wow.
And set that up for yourself before you go. Yes, I would say conduct yourself strategically and leave strategically. Thank you again for allowing me to share.
And if we have any discussions moving forward, please hit the link, please.
Thank
you. All right, Cassandra, and now you can talk until your appointment.
Okay.
Do you have any sage, time, oregano, wisdom?
I sure do. First of all, everybody's commentary that spoke was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Everybody's commentary was, and everybody's point of view is so layered with this situation. And it comes back to women always think they are the exception to the situation, because just as it was pointed out before, I remember when Brian Carn was speaking here at Word of Restoration Church, which is a huge church here in Houston. And this was years ago, because I didn't even know Brian Carn had a church here until Larry said that. last night or yesterday or something. I don't hear nothing about Brian Carn in Houston now, but this was years and years ago when he was very, very, very popular. I was sitting on the front row of Word of Restoration. The whole church was packed, literally. And as church was closing out, this little girl looked like she was about maybe 4, maybe 5, I guess. Literally, as Brian Carn was closing out, this little girl
Oh, she was just gonna get to it. She got a phone call, y'all. Oh my God.
and we all look, we're
Wait
all,
a minute, it broke up. It broke up.
oh, so this little girl walks up on the altar while Brian Carn was closing out this was a fiery service. This is like when he was at the top of his game years ago. Okay. She walks up on the steps, and Word of Restoration, if you know, the church is huge. The pulpit is huge, and he's on the steps closing out. This little girl walks up there and calls Brian Carn daddy. And all of so he looked at her, we were like, what did she say? And he said, so Brian Carn says, daddy. And he looks at this little girl. Now, it had to be at least 3,000, 4,000, because the whole church was completely packed. And he said, daddy. And then he said, he was like, I don't know who she calling daddy. The devil is a lie, like that, and walked away from the little girl.
Oh no!
The little girl standing up there on those steps. You know they have big pulpits with these big steps on them. And one of the preachers, we never saw who the mama was. The mother didn't never come up there and get the little girl. So now Brian Carn walks away from this child. We're all in shock. The pastor of the church, Pastor Perry, and his wife are way over there because, it's a huge thing. Oh, it's absolutely hell. This ain't a ledge, baby. It's probably.
Oh well, listen. If it ain't coming from my mouth, I have to. Yeah, go ahead.
Video, but no, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't have to say alleged. I'm sitting on the front row. So then one of the he leaves this little girl standing there, and one of the preachers gets the little girl and lead her down the steps and let her sit kind of on her lap until church is over. And Pastor Perry didn't know people didn't know what to do, When you have this level of ignorance and dysfunction and hurt women playing all of these games, there's a lot of collateral damage. And at that time, I wasn't even a therapist yet. I probably was working because I graduated with my therapy degree 10 years ago. So I may have been working on it now, but I know I was not a therapist at this time. I know that. And so, but I'm looking at her as a nurse and then processing the psychological damage and rejection that could have set up in that little girl in that one moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we have to look at the collateral damage that these games are playing, what they're doing to people. I hear these stories all the time, and it may not be a high profile person, but hurt is hurt. Manipulation is manipulation, and it could have been, I don't know if a Larry that wasn't actually his child, but I'm just saying when you manipulate people, you're opening yourself, you're opening a lot of collateral damage to yourself. Is it wrong? It's absolutely wrong. When I was a nurse at one of the facilities I was working at, me and one of the physicians who was medical director of our department, I thought we were the only people in the clinic that night because the clinic was really big. This was late at night. And we were just kind of flirting around, and there was another nurse in the clinic that we didn't know was in there, right? So she goes back and she reports that we were flirting or we were having an affair. Or we weren't having an affair, but it got kind of crossed the line maybe a little bit and some stuff, but we weren't actually having an affair. And so they report this person reported us. Man, you would have thought they had us in a meeting with literally the medical director, the chief nursing officer. Like, this was a whole issue, and we weren't even having an affair. Then they moved me and this was a huge clinic in Houston, Hughes Clinic System in Houston. They moved me to a whole nother clinic. On an allegation that wasn't even accurate. Okay, the Bible says you shun even the appearance of evil. Because of our positions in that space, they don't want nothing looking like it's not appropriate. They literally transferred me to an entirely different place. We have got to stop thinking that people that are in spiritual leadership, like somebody said, that we're holding them to a standard we're not holding ourselves to. That is an absolute blatant lie when it comes to Cassandra, because I hold myself to that standard. And I did not have conviction about adultery, fornication, and moving wretched back in the day. And I had to ask the Holy Spirit to give me conviction, because this is not right. This is not appropriate how I'm moving. And the Holy Spirit himself had to give me conviction, because I said, the only reason why this is wrong for me is because the Bible says it.
I remember when you were on with Larry.
Yes.
With Larry, and we were talking. It was when Gigi first hit.
Yes.
And you were talking about your story and your experience.
Yes.
You mind giving us an abridged version of it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's a couple of very prominent bishops that I won't name, and I'll try to keep as anonymous as I can, that I have been involved with in the past. And I didn't have any conviction about. I'm going to tell you how God worked in a couple of situations. This is why I know you can bring your flesh under subjection. Okay? Because I know a lot of bishops, I know a lot of people. My family moved in major spaces, and I've been in major spaces. Okay? So, and I have a lot of friends that are great friends that are actually bishops in high profile leadership. And me and this particular bishop, he was a single bishop. I was a single woman. He had preached a huge
Is he well known?
Very.
Oh.
All of my friends are very well known.
I'm talking about the bishop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's very well known. Thousands of people there. So when we get back to the suite that night, and it's just like what Larry said in one of his commentaries, when you open yourself up spiritually like that, that coming down off that energy has to go somewhere. This is why it's not wise that a pastor that preaches like that is not married, because that energy has to go somewhere. And so when we were in the suite that night after he preached, Tyesse, he's completely he's completely naked. I have on my bra and my panties. And we in the bed, and the Holy Spirit said, I dare you. I'm laying on top of this person. And he says, I dare you. And I'm like, the devil is a whole lie. I know it's a whole lie. And he convicted me. And then when he led me through this journey, he said, as he was delivering me, he laid me out on my church altar. My church Fountain of Praise here in Houston, we don't lay hands on people when they fall out. I don't know how I got on the floor of the altar. We were in altar. It had to be 2,000-3,000 people there. And nobody laid hands on me, but I ended up laying out on the altar some type of way. And I'm just speaking in tongues. And altar prayer is over. And the pastor said, can't y'all see when God is doing surgery? Because they were trying to get me up. And when I laid on the ground, my body was paralyzed. And the Holy Spirit said, you are a pimp just like your daddy. You are a pimp. And I couldn't move. All I could do is, it was like literal surgery. And so they finally was able to get me up, and God dealt with me. And I said, it's only wrong because the Bible says it for me. I need you to give me conviction. And he took me through a process, and laying next to that individual that night in that suite. And it happened a couple of other times too. And I could not do it. I couldn't go, even if we were in the bed with nothing, naked, ready. God just convicted. Like, I could not do it.
So with that one pastor, you never had sex with that pastor?
It defines.
I know what I'm saying. You never had any type of sexual relations with that bishop?
Not that particular one. That would have been the first night that probably would have happened.
Okay.
Now,
because you said the Spirit told you, don't you dare
do it. Don't you dare do it.
And you didn't.
I couldn't, even though he was completely naked. I was in a bed first, because they were still handling business. Suites have living.
Yeah.
So him and other people were out in the suite. I had taken my bath. I'm in the bed just waiting. Okay.
Yeah.
And he got in the bed. The Holy Spirit dared me to do it. And I couldn't. Literally, we did nothing sexual that night. Okay. Then
that night.
I pushed the envelope.
You said that night.
That night. So I pushed the envelope a couple of more times, and the Holy Spirit would not allow me to have intercourse with this person. Okay. He would not allow it. And I did. That's when I had, and then now there was somebody else that I did have actual intercourse with, and the Spirit convicted me again. And then the last time, that was another bishop. And the last time the Holy Spirit told me, if you do it again, I'm expose you. Because I've never been exposed. Like, I've never been caught with anybody, and I would never expose anybody. I just don't move like that anyway. I make decisions about what I do in the spaces that I move in. And he said, if you do it again, I'm going to expose you. And that was when he really started to deal with me about my blueprint. And that's a conversation, because when just the verbiage that Brian Carn was using in those text messages, it was just like Larry said, he's very immature, even related to how to move with a mature woman, because just the verbiage was, like, come on, men don't even talk like that to women. It's a immaturity that they have, because they're not street smart. They don't know how to move, and they always choose women that can be victimized. Like, I know what the game is. I know the game going in. I'm not expecting things from anybody that I know I can't have or that's not mine. I'm gonna use what I can get that can benefit me from, and that's business intellect, financial intellect, educational intellect. Like, I'm not just laying up with somebody to say that I'm laying up with somebody that have a name. And that's the draw for these people. And what they don't realize, you're not getting anything. Just like she said, well, I'm working. And see, let me tell you why she said that in that text, that I'm working overtime trying to make some extra money or whatever that was. And you talking to somebody of means. See, that was her thinking, and she told him that I'm need to make money, that well, let me send you, a couple of $1,000 or whatever. Let me send you some money. But it didn't work. You see, it didn't work. See, these women don't even know how to play the game. What the game that I played when God took that sexual thing away from it is like, what does this person have that I really need? Because I don't need that. I'm always was moving around. I don't need that from no bishop or no preacher or no pastor or nobody else, right? What do I need from them? And that's what I went after. And that's intellect. That's knowledge. The reason why I have Cornell behind my name, Liberty, U of H, Howard University, Prairie View, going to Harvard, and all the other schools that I have behind my name, is I went after intellect and knowledge. These people don't even know how to gain from the source that God didn't have nothing to do with it, from the source that showed up in their life for whatever reason. We can't spiritualize sin. It ain't never God telling you that I need to expose this so that the body of Christ or whatever now they just real spiritual now. Okay. And God is using me to expose this. He's not using you to do anything. The only thing he wants you to do is be convicted and repent for your role in this debauchery. And I'm gonna tell you the other reason why I stopped dealing with people on that level, because I'm not gonna participate in anything with a man of God and that God would judge me for. I'm not gonna do it. And there's one thing that one of my friends said. He's anybody that will sin with you will sin against you. And this is what we're seeing. Anybody that will sin with you will sin again. It's what we're seeing with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It's what we're seeing with Gigi and Logan and Vashti and Carn and all these other people. Anybody that will sin and operate in a lack of integrity and immorality with you will turn on you, because at the end of the day, there's no integrity in it.
All right. Well,
No.
just to clarify, because I got to bring Dr. Reed on, but to clarify, you said y'all was naked, but y'all didn't do anything, so y'all just ended the.
We didn't end a friendship. We just didn't.
Something y'all ended the night. Y'all didn't do anything that night sexually.
No, because
okay. Did y'all ever do anything sexually after that?
Yes.
we didn't have penetration after that.
Okay, that's all.
You messing around.
Okay, and then God convicted me again.
We ain't judging. We are listening. We don't judge.
No, this is a safe space, a real safe space. We don't just put it on the title.
You slept with a bishop. I slept with a member.
We
even.
So I did want to make sure that I heard God correctly. So I probably had that I had a couple of opportunities to verify that I heard it. And each time the warning came. And so the last time he was like, if you do it again, I'm expose you.
Ooh, that's not like him.
It was definitely. So you can bring your flesh under subjection. Is it easy? No. But all of these years, all of this stuff that Brian Carn and all these other people been going through all of this, and you don't know how to, you can't bring your flesh under subjection. I'm not giving you a pass, and you've been trying to deal with, and you're exploiting women. See, I've never been exploited, but I don't have nobody running no mind games on me. I know exactly when I was doing what I was doing, I knew exactly what I was doing. So I've never been deceived, manipulated, nobody promising me nothing that I know they're not gonna do. Like, I don't have that testimony. My natural father was a actual pimp. He was in San Quentin Penitentiary, murdered many people. My natural father don't play. Like, he is like Suge Knight, adjacent, right? And so put me up on game when I was a little girl. Like, he was teaching me how to think and talk and move back then. So you're not gonna pimp me. I know exactly what it is, and I know that's why when the Holy Spirit said you're a pimp just like your daddy, I didn't get it because I don't move like him. But when I looked at the way that I did move, it's pimping from a different place. You still getting what you need. You just see, I never let nobody pay no bills for me. I've never taken money from a man. And all of the guys that I dated were very, very wealthy, or millionaires or multimillionaires or whatever. I never did, because my parents were millionaires, and I never had a mindset of taking money from a man. So I always looked at other things that they had that I needed. So these women don't, my natural father, I was adopted from him. Okay. And so the family, my grandparents raised me. So I never looked at a man to elevate me in that way financially. I want my mind to elevate me. And that's why what I have lasts. That's why what they got don't last, because they didn't get anything that lasts. Somebody sending you cash apps that's corruptible. What did you learn? How can you elevate your thought process? So when I met Bishop Jones, like probably 20 years ago, I started reading books that he read. I couldn't even understand 10% of the books. Like, I literally couldn't even process the information. But the more that I kept reading them and reading them and reading them and reading them, then they start making sense. But they don't use their friendships to elevate them. They just use it to think they're going to get a quick dollar. I could care less. I buy all my own stuff myself. But they're not smart in that way. So you don't know how to think. So you're ignorant. So no, I don't have any empathy or sympathy for Vasta, Gigi, and nobody else. Y'all don't know how to stay out of a game you don't know how to play.
Wow.
And so, they don't know how to play the game, but you want to think because somebody stimulates you sexually. Like, you could have came to me with that conversation that Brian Carn texted her. Like, he talked to her like he was a teenager. Like, that was language that you'd expect somebody in high school to be texting to a girl. And he was a 30-something-year-old man.
That is a lot. Well, we want to get you out of here in time for your 1 o'clock.
Actually, my 1 o'clock was rescheduled so I can hang with y'all. So I'll go on mute, hear what Larry say, because I may need to come back up. So my 1 o'clock actually rescheduled and I didn't know it. See, look at how God is working. So, all right. Larry, but I'm gonna stay up in case I need to comment on something Larry got to say.
All right, Larry, when you finish, Larry, you up, brother?
Okay, is it okay if I connect this to my platform?
Please do.
Yeah, because that saved me. I ain't got to work.
Cassandra said her 1 o'clock canceled too, so now she can stay.
Oh, okay. Well, you can bring her back up when
yeah, we'll bring you back up, Cassandra. All right, we'll bring you back up. her 1 o'clock canceled, so she was gonna she'll be able to hang out.
That's how that world is. That
Yeah.
world, they whenever have appointments stuff. But first of all, let me say, I absolutely love the conversation that you have created here, Tyesse.
Thank you so
Everybody who has came on the official Tyesse Report. If you're watching on Larry Live, you need to be following the official Tyesse Report page. Go ahead over there and subscribe and hit like, because his conversations are just in a more positive light, even if the story is horrible and salacious. He know how to make it to where it just sound like you on the front porch with some of your older family members and just talking about it, sipping some tea, looking down the road. But anyway, I heard what everybody said, and I just want to say Crystal Marshall and Naida.
Yeah.
And let me say this, because I've had the privilege of serving them, being under them, pushing them, coaching them, being an inspiration to them at some point in their life. Naida still is with us, and Crystal is pretty much still family. Y'all, they ain't nothing like a thinking Black woman.
Yeah.
So that Black woman, and that's why I like Cassandra, because she thinks as well. But what Naida said really should be its own live, a series on YouTube. She can do a course with it. I'm so terribly proud. So terribly proud. That is the reason why I do what I do. Now, let me bring in something a little bit different. I want to say this: not every relationship with the power gap, whether it is a boss with the secretary, a pastor with the member, not every relationship, sexual relationship with the power gap is predatory. And I think we're talking like if that's the dynamic, then it's always predatory. And that is not true. We do not know if Brian Carn or Lovey reached out to these people to then go into this type of relationship with them. We know what one party says, the people who came out to talk, but we have not been able to get into that kind of conversation with Lovey or Carn and any of the other pastors prior to that. So we can't assume, and that's the thing that was irritating me. We can assume that there was some predatory approach or predatory type kind of setup that the person in power was doing to the person who was not in power.
Is it fair, Larry, due to the fact that we have seen so many predatory stories in the span of our lives, that is in the back of our heads whenever we see a scandal?
It was in the back of mine. I ran my show like that from the beginning, the first few years, of course. That's why I always was championing the victim. Whatever they said happened, what happened, it was on the person in power to prove to me that it didn't happen. But that wasn't the best approach to problem solving, and it didn't cause everybody to learn. One thing that we see here that Naida said, that these people who are in these type of relationships don't know how to handle Mad Day. They don't know how to gracefully, ethically leave the situation. So that needs to be the conversation. And hats off to your platforms like myself, who are discussing it all the way around. So both two grown, consenting, willing, invested people in a relationship that has a power gap, that I don't find that predatory. And when I say invested, Naida hit on this. The moment you sleep with somebody in your ministry, in your business, or anybody, whether it's outside of your business or in another country, you are risking, pastor, business owner, you have the risk of them telling somebody at some point in time. And depending on what type of work you do, that is going to affect you. There's that. Then spiritual authority in a dynamic like that is not the same as sexual coercion. We don't know what Brian Carn, Lovey did. We just see the text messages in between them. At now that the relationship and in the space that it's in, we just see those text messages, calling wifey, which all niggas do that. Or calling, saying that you my wife, or you my wife, I'm gonna be with you. Women do it and men do it. The person in power, the person not in power, do it. When you in a relationship, you're going to be saying stuff like that. Oh, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. I've said that with Elisa, who's the mother of my children, the queen of my family. But I said it in a dynamic that we don't have anymore. And so was I being predatory? Was I lying? Was I trying to get Lisa to do X, Y, Z? No, that was my real feelings at that time. When you're in a relationship, you say stuff. So I don't think that we should go through these text messages and the testimonies of these women and take them as if what was said to them for the purpose of getting a certain action out of them. Because I did that before, and it came back and bit me. The power dynamic needs to be discussed. I'm glad that it was brought up, because I didn't bring it up in my live, but I did on Lisa's platform last night, and you guys are bringing it up here. But that power dynamic does not erase human agency. We can't assume somebody is a victim. We can't assume. I think in our mind, we think that they come in the room with that pastor, with that entrepreneur, with that leader, that artist, Diddy, Jakes, come in there and they pull their panties off and pull their bra off. No, you pull down your panties, you take off your bra because you want to be fucked. You enjoy the power dynamic. You like that power overtaking you and being put in you. You enjoy it. That's why you tripping when it's all over. That's why you online running your mouth when it's all over, because there's a part of you that wants everybody to know that you did this with the bishop. You did this with the prophet. You did this with the artist. Let's just tell the truth. Two things can be true at a time. Yeah, you're telling your story, but at the same time, you letting them know I was chosen. I had access to the pen and you didn't. That's in there as well. So I'm not saying to ignore the power dynamic, but I am saying that we should not put these assumptions because of what we've seen in the past and what we see some raggedy pastors and leaders and artists like Diddy, Jakes, Bishop Jakes. I'm calling these names because they've been talked about Lovey. We can't just assume because the power dynamic is there that something nefarious or predatory is happening. I do not think that is proper to do. And then to make somebody guilty without facts and questioning things, we don't need to do that. We just need, in my opinion, we should talk about it from all sides, but we absolutely should not make people wrong when we got half the story.
Okay, well, here's the deal. And the live before we link with yours, people were really, really vocal, Larry. As you can see, as you saw in the comments, people were vocal, both pro and con, about how they feel about this. So to spread the conversation out a little bit more, when you have no intent of doing something, if you know you're not going to marry somebody and you know you're just getting your needs fulfilled, there are people that may feel that is in the neighborhood of predatory behavior because it is a form of spiritual manipulation.
I agree.
If that person is looking up to you, even if they're getting their needs met at the same time, because there's a dynamic there of trust, but it's also a dynamic there, Larry, of, okay, this is confusing.
Yeah, and this is the pastor, so let me do what the pastor want me to do. I think that's predatory all day, every single day. I fully believe that. But unless we're able to,
I'm just playing the devil's advocate, Larry.
No, but you're right. I mean, because I've seen that. I do think that's rare, but I have seen that. And somebody said, Larry, why you think it's rare? I only can go by what I've heard, what I've experienced, and different people I talk to. I do think that is rare because people just don't let people have that type of power over them, even in churches where people are less educated. They don't let nobody take power over them like that easy, but that it does happen. But that's predatory. When somebody don't even see you in a sexual light, and then you use your power and your influence to eventually break them down and get them on a place to where they will do this with you, and then you get them to enjoy it to where now they're wanting it. Okay, we will have to talk to the person who's been participating in that power dynamic to find out if that's the truth. If that's the truth, that's what it was, well, then that is predatory and that needs to be discussed. But to assume that because somebody is in a position of power, whether that's money, whether it's popularity, because there's that power dynamic, because there's a power gap there, then it's automatically predatory. That's not fair. I know more pastors who have been pursued out of the pew than pastors who's pursuing in the pew. Now, that's from my experience. Okay. So we have to discuss that from both ends. I am not saying that if a pastor sleeps with a member, that that pastor is right or has no fault for sleeping with the member. Yes, because of ethics and the world of business. Of course, he's in power, so he's going to have the most responsibility as relates to that business, that church, or that dynamic. But the reality is that there could be some other things that are nuanced that we have to ask questions about. It could have been that that person in the pew pursued the pastor, and then the pastor developed a likening for them because that person always served them. That person was always helping them. That person helped push out the vision when their spouse, best friend, or other people they were paying wasn't doing it. You know, that is how sometimes the pew can put themselves in a place, dangling themselves in front of a man of power, meeting their needs. It starts with getting the shoes, getting the socks, cooking the food, getting to the church early, cleaning it up, doing what other people don't do. People are very smart, and I've seen it happen so many times. And before that man and woman of God look up, they already with that person, been with them for 3 or 4 years, and they come to a place, oh my God, I got to stop this. Either because they're married or just because it's just not good. It's not a good setup. Everybody don't have the level of maturity to handle something like that. So, and when that happened, they wanted to break it off. Now you're going online on Man Day and telling that y'all were having sex, you know, and everybody making the pastor wrong. No, and the pastor can't come out here and say, wait a minute, they pursued me and they did this to me, and that's how we end up in this. No pastor's going to come out here and do that because it's just not a good look in a dynamic like that. So I just wanted to say that because I felt like it needed to be said, because I felt like it wasn't enough words put to that.
Yeah. So somebody mentioned bringing your flesh under submission. What do you say to that, Larry, when it comes to ministers, pastors, bishops, bringing your flesh under submission? Because we hear that a lot when we talk about these people that say they've been delivered, especially from homosexuality and things like that. But what do you say to bringing your flesh up under submission? Is it easy? Is it something that's doable?
It's easier for certain people. This depends on your personality. It depends on who your parents are. It depends on your environment. Depends on the time you were born up under the sun, your moon sign, your rising sign. All of that makes a difference. But this whole homosexual thing, okay, people talking about they get delivered homosexuality, that is a 100% lie. Anybody ever tell you that, and you know right then they're lying. You cannot be delivered from homosexuality in the same sense you can't be delivered from heterosexuality. It is sexuality. So anybody that says that they've been delivered from homosexuality, they were never a homosexual. Simple as that. Because there's no way for you to be delivered from homosexuality. That is who you are. It is where you play on the spectrum. It's the part of sexuality, the way that you have sex activities with the same sex. You are conditioned to that. That's the way you like to come. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is not a biblical sin. I taught that on last night. Homosexual was put in there. The word comes from the Germans, put in there in the 1800s, didn't show up in the Bible until 1946. And that's because of a mistranslation of text. Same thing for the word fornication. It is not premarital sex. That's a mistranslation and a misinterpretation of scripture. It was talking about illicit sexual acts, especially men and women that sell themselves. All of this is made up by church people, white church people, for the purpose of control. And as a black Christians, we have embraced this, and we preach and we teach this as if Jesus said it. This was Paul writings that we didn't understand. This ain't even what Jesus taught. Jesus ain't mentioned nothing about a homosexual. You know, so are we followers of Jesus Christ, or are we followers of Paul? What are we? We need to we're not Christians, we're Paulines. because we're not following what Jesus said. Paul was exclusive. Jesus was inclusive. So Jesus was about justice. Paul was about getting back. I remember he was a murderer and he got converted. So some of that was still in his personality. And people didn't like Tiffany saying what she said about him being misogynistic. That is absolutely true. You know how it is. We hear these preachers talk and they under the spirit, they preach and what they're saying is good. Then they say something that's from their flesh and go back in the spirit. Same way with Pauline writings.
Wow. Well, the genesis for this video today, y'all, there was a new woman that came out and did a post. Again, we don't know if this woman is related. People can do posts and write anything, Larry, right?
What woman?
Well, it was a lady on Facebook, and she wrote a post concerning Brian Carn. You were here in the beginning of the video, so
I ain't know about that.
I can read it if you want me to read it. It's nothing detrimental, but it's a little, I can read it. Hold on. There's a new lady, and she says, maybe I should mention the name of his church. I'll just say, she said, I left a church. I ain't gonna mention this church. Okay. I left because I'm not on my platform. I'm on 2 platforms right now. So she said, I left a church 5 years ago. And to be honest, this has been the most traumatic experience of my life. To this day, I struggle with attending any church. And I was raised in the church. I'd never seen or experienced anything to this magnitude. I struggled and lost so much in the midst of my transition.
Girl, get to the point.
It is very sickening to see that women are still being taken advantage of in the name of God. At the end of the day, people's souls are on the line. God is not pleased. Now, she goes on to say right here, so many women have reached out to me.
Okay, I can't. I can't. This is those people that come out after somebody else comes out, like the Diddy thing.
Ty did share this to her platform.
This is what I'm saying. Okay. So now we're seeing why she made this post. Somebody has been in their ear, and I wouldn't be surprised it's Senegal. I'm not surprised it's one of these Abednego people. Because see, behind the scene, these people are together coming up against prophets and pastors and preachers, typically those of influence. When these people come out after somebody done said something, and now I got something, I ain't paying nothing to what you saying, no attention. And you ain't saying that. Where's your receipts? What are you saying?
She did share a receipt from Brian Carn. She shared a receipt, a screenshot from Brian Carn.
Of him saying what?
I guess she said, you did not pastor me, you prayed on me.
Oh.
And then he replied, I'm not supposed to be on here. And it's allegedly Brian Carn, of course. I'm not supposed to be on here. I'm sending this because I believe you blocked my number. I apologize. I made you feel unheard. But please, let's talk this through, please. I love you and never want to or meant to hurt you. Call me tonight, please, about 8.
Okay. Okay, so that means that there was, but I don't, he's not confessing.
Now this is supposed to be a DM message from him, a Facebook Messenger message from him. But they can create those, so we don't want to just automatically assume that it's real because it could be somebody generated this. But it looks real to me, Larry.
I mean, okay, well, fine. I'm not gonna judge it negatively.
Yeah,
but it sounds like they got some kind of deal, and we just don't know to what extent.
But she says so many women have reached out to her and shared their story with her.
I'm trying. Why is she so vague? Did y'all Farouk or not?
Okay, and she says, I say all this to say there is a huge lack of accountability. Let today be the day of truth to set your soul free. So she's trying to tell these other women there, what it looks like to me, that you need to also speak out.
Oh, okay. And well, let me say this. If we know Carn's pain is out of control like Jamal's was, but now his new wife, she ain't gonna have that. She be cut it off.
Yeah.
So let's have a different kind of conversation as relates to Carn. Let's say Carn got some problems. He needs to go to therapy, and he needs to take some time with therapy because let me tell you why. Because there's some self-control issues. If this is a pattern and this is happening in his church all the time, and there's several women that will have the same testimony, then he needs to go to therapy to do some work. And I think I said the same thing with Lovey, because I told you guys Lovey is an orphan. So he has a boundary issue. And we've had this conversation offline and online. I've had it with you guys. So he got a problem. Carn is in a leadership position where women are going, and the job that he does, women are going to be the main people that he engaged with. And if he has a boundary issue, like I said, Lovey had, mixed in with some issues maybe from his childhood to where he doesn't know how to minister to somebody attractive. You don't know how to draw a line of boundary when somebody's attracted to you. Now, your humanity can mess up a few times, but if this is a consistent thing that is going on, okay, well, then we do need to have a different kind of conversation. At the same time we have that conversation, we need to get some help to the women who allow themselves to sign up for something that they don't have the wherewithal to deal with. Because it sounds like these women get in relationship with these pastors like that are in leadership position, but they don't have the wherewithal to be one of many. They don't have the wherewithal to leave it gracefully. They don't have the wherewithal to not lose themselves in the process. So everybody needs therapy as relates to this. And if Carn has that kind of problem that is clinical, then he needs professional help. But
who Larry, determines who is, legitimate? How do we start separating these stories? Is it our job as the community, or is it, up to the people in his church to determine, well, is this legitimate enough for us to look into, or should we just all dismiss all of this and keep praying?
No, I don't know if we should look into it.
Yeah.
But I don't put any weight or worth on these people who come out after somebody else come out and all of that. I see it, but it's like, where were you before this first person done this? Where were you before this first person came out and got all this attention and clout? And what are you really after now? Because you didn't tell this before. So I don't really pay that too much attention.
So we're not supposed to become first 48 detectives.
No, I don't think so. Because we just do commentary. That's for somebody. That's for the law to do, and for lawyers in court cases. Bam them.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think we just do commentary about what is public. But I did want it to say that because I feel like that balances the conversation, because we can't just all look at it from what we have heard other pastors do. Yeah. What we suspect this pastor is doing, and what the assumed victim is saying. There are no victims in this as far as I'm concerned, but maybe that's something I do not know. I don't see where she was preyed upon 10 years getting the D and gifts and just having that whatever he does so wonderfully. And clearly there's some things that there was nothing hardly off limits by what she said. And in that video, she licked his lips, and he almost opened his mouth to lick her back, but he was looking at that camera like, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm going to lick her back on camera, and I don't know why the hell, I don't know. Side pieces do not, well, let me not say side pieces. When you are a privileged friend of somebody in power, you really need to think this thing through. If they are wealthy and they're a person in power, you're likely not the only one. It's a possibility. So number one, prep and doxy prep. That's the first thing. Protect yourself sexually. Number two, if you're getting any benefit, put some of that money to the side. I'm going to say 50%. Tithe from all of it. Do your teruma, but then take 50% and put it to the side, because whether it's a year or 10, this is going to come to an end, and you get used to a certain amount of money and living a certain kind of way. So you need to put some of the money to the side. And I'm going to say this. You ought not be giving no sextivities to nobody who is not taking care of you on some level. This makes no sense. Sex is the oldest, most productive business in the world. You have got to see sex like a business and an exchange. I don't care if you married. You need to use that palm with some wisdom. That pom-pom has power, and you can't get it nowhere else. The only specimen on the earth that's similar to a woman's puss is sheep. And you're not going out there to the farm to wade through all of the animals. So you have women need to learn how to look at their crotch area as a treasure chest that you open for those that are qualified. I don't care what your need is. You better get you a rose and get you a dildo. You take care of your darn self until somebody qualifies for you to open wide your puss.
What I'm seeing is that the quest in most of these stories, Larry, is the desire to be a wife or the first lady. They're all the same stories, right? Yeah. It's almost like a template. And so maybe this endurance and this patience that a lot of these sisters are having, they saw like Loretta Jones wait 29 years for her ring. So there is not really a time constraint on a lot of these people. They're willing to wait it out and see what the end is going to be, Larry. A lot of them. So 10 years to a lot of us is like insane. Like if you're waiting for something and it never happens, 29 years is diabolical to some people. But the patience is the endurance for a lot of these people.
Well, you know, if they're going to do a Loretta, then act like Loretta. I mean, there was a couple of things that got out when she dragged that girl in front of Noel Jones' house. But ultimately, she handled the hoes and Noel, getting money from him the whole time, supporting her business. You know, she really played it smart, but everybody don't have that grace like that to stick, you know, beside a man until he decides to choose you. You know, that is personal. I'm not going to advise no woman to do that. If you know that this man ain't serious about you, but he giving you a little something and you getting something out of it, take 50% of that, put it to the side, and continue to do whatever it is that you want to do, but plan for the future and don't expect the future to include him.
The Aquarian in me is like, I'm not going to be nobody's hospice nurse. Like, I'm sorry. That's just too long to be. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But to each his own, to each his own. Larry, the question I think that needs to be asked is, are we in a new era of Black churchdom? Like, is this like, you know, you keep hearing people say, well, child, they've been doing this. They've been doing this since I was a child. But is this a new era? Like, is this a new energy we're in right now? Because we got the internet. We didn't have the internet back then.
Yeah, we did. We didn't have the internet back then. So this is brand new. This is a new component. Yeah. But the great thing about it, look at the conversations that we're having.
Yeah.
I think these conversations are great. I think this conversation is elevated. I think it's well-rounded and balanced. I think this, and I know this is going to rock the Facebook, or Facebook where all the old school church people are. We need to redefine this gospel in our Bibles so that we can all stop being hypocrites. Only a small percentage of us can live the way that these preachers preach. We need to embrace what Carlton Pearson said, because we can live that gospel. Well, some of us are going to struggle with that because some of us don't love ourselves and love others. Wow. You know, that's the basic of Jesus and what he taught. In Christianity, you are not required to love nobody outside of those that are just like you, and nobody's going to check you on it. So we need a brand new revelation of Christ and recreate a religion. We can put Christ's name in it. That is, it can be Christianity, but we got to redefine it and modernize it, because this is not working. I'm talking to somebody the other day said, I'm not a Christian because I embrace African spiritual systems. I embrace astrology, numerology, ancestral veneration. They're saying I can't be a Christian. Okay, where'd you get that from? Because I still believe in Jesus. I believe Jesus is God, and God is Jesus in the flesh. I believe that. So that's what makes me a Christian. You saying I got to ascribe to all this other stuff y'all saying in order to be a Christian? No, I will never ascribe to that. So we need to broaden our perspective around Christianity, what it means to be a Christian. And if you got Jesus at the center of it all, Why am I concerned on whether you wear makeup, whether you wear pants, whether you pierce your ears, whether you have tattoos, whether you have sex before marriage or after marriage or sexless marriage, whether you sleep with somebody of the same sex or not? Are you harming yourself and harming anybody else? If you're following that rule and loving everybody, then you're walking and being like Christ.
That was a whole word.
You make me talk, boy. I tell you.
Here's the thing: the conversation, as you seen, Larry, everybody keeps saying that Brian Carn is single. He's
Absolutely.
single. He's single. So, is that a problem? Should pastors, if you're going to be in ministry, is that like, should there be a prerequisite that you need to be in a marriage? You should be married before you can become a minister?
That was the whole reason why they told me when I was in seminary, teenager, telling me that I need to be married. Because they're saying you need somewhere to lay your head. Well, I think that is improper. I think that is bad. They should have never did that because everybody is not the same person sexually. And I think we need to be honest about sexuality. Single, straight, gay, married or not. If you horny and you want to bust a nut, this is what I would say. I would say you need to find somebody that's on your same level mentally, spiritually, emotionally, ethics, and you create a covenant with them. So you got somewhere to lay your head. And even them, you don't trust 100%. You better have your prep, your doxy prep, and your condoms. You need to be having sex, and we don't talk about that. We talk about spirituality a little bit, but sexuality and spirituality is the same energy. So you cannot be teaching spirituality and not have a conversation about sex. The two go together. The church fails at that big time. And that is the reason why we have some of this stuff going on, because people are practicing suppression. And whatever you suppress grows in the dark, comes up, explodes, and you can't handle it. And suppression is depression. We got a lot of people who are depressed because they're not coming. They need to be sexually expressive. This is part of your spirituality.
Yeah. To the people in the chat, I just want to be clear. We know that married pastors cheat, yes. And we also know that being married will not keep you from doing something if that's what you're going to do.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, the question was formed as, is this a way to, at least begin the process of chastening yourself if it's possible?
A marriage does not make you chase.
Yeah.
Marriage just give you somewhere to come dump safely, to Farouk safely, where it should be safer. But 2025, it ain't, because you don't know what that nigga doing when he leave the house. But what I am saying is this: you have to have your own personal sexual ethics, whether you're married or not. You need to have them in place before you get married, because marriage ain't going to change you. And there's some people, if you just look at it biologically, and I ain't going to even say that it's a science, but y'all going to think I'm leaning to the left. But every man cannot embrace monogamy.
That is true.
You give him a marriage license 10 times. Every man can't do it. Can't do it. So what you do with that? What the church don't have that conversation. And what happens if you marry someone for the church and the business, but the other part of you that's maybe an entertainer or something else, that wife doesn't really match. You need a wife for that too. We don't have conversations about polygamy. We don't have conversations about having more than one. Now in Africa, you can have more than one. In Dubai, you can have more than one, but there's certain qualifications. If you can afford 2 women, if you can afford 5 women, you cannot have that many women. You only can have as many women you can take care of emotionally and financially. And that's part of their religion and their customs. But we do not even have that measure at all in the church. We don't even have the conversation, but we have to consistently play cleanup with all this stuff that is hitting the fan.
I don't know. I was thinking that this was going to kind of like die down the next day after Larry, because I said, well, she said what she said. Maybe it'll kind of start tempering down a little bit, and now it's bubbling back up again. But you always say that, Larry. It goes through ebbs and flows, ups and downs. So
I think we should celebrate. I gotta go, but we should celebrate this platform. And I'm on my platform right now. If you watching me and you're enjoying this, I want you to send that 888 to Tyesse platform.
Oh, thank you so much.
Tyesse is on 5 days a week, like I used to be. Yeah. And he's giving what's happening in politics, what's happening in movies, what happened in music, what is happening in church culture. That's really his wheelhouse, but he covers it all. This is Black media. We have to support Black media. Black media has to be supported. So $8.88. At the bottom of the screen, you see all the different ways. Cash App, $ Tyesse. That's 2 S's, TYESSE 76. Tyesse 76 on Venmo as well. That's normally how I do it. And Tyesse 76 at yahoo.com for Zelle. So support him, support this platform, because he's having the conversation. He ain't just talking about the drama and the mess. He's pulling conversations out of what is dramatic and crazy that's hitting the internet, conversations that we need to have.
Yeah. Before we go, Larry, can you just give us, my audience, your quick review of what you felt about the movie Straw, really quickly?
Okay, let me say this about Straw. First of all, every Black man needs to watch. I know they're pushing Black women to watch, but Black man that has a mom and has a wife and daughters, you need to watch. Tyler Perry done an excellent job in bringing you into the strength that Black women have, the powerful managers that they are of so many different things, including their children, their career, their body, their own mental health. And that's another thing. We need to check on every Black woman of color's mental health, because women are like the queens of working through it, and they really need help. And this woman, by the end, you can see that she has snapped, and that can happen to any of us. And the reality is, many of us know a woman who has lived Straw out.
Yes.
We know it. Some of our moms did. My mom did.
My mama did.
Yeah, so we need to watch it so that we can connect back to our moms and Black women in our community and really help and undergird her. Y'all do know that the reason that the Black woman is put where she is put is because she's the making, the creator of the world, and the most powerful entity in the earth. And we must get our Blackness delivered of whiteness that has caused us to call our Black women bitches, call them our hoes, and handle them the way that we have, even with our rappers, the way they have talked about them, how she's been displayed in music and in entertainment. That happened on our watch as Black men. So we got to correct that, because we got to make sure that the world know that Black Madonna gave birth to the entire earth. Everybody has her fingerprint in their DNA. That is a biological fact. All mankind come out between the legs of a colored woman. And we need to watch Straw with that honor in mind, so that we can really get all of what Tyler Perry was trying to show us.
I agree. It was a powerful movie. I got 2 messages from it. One of the messages was Black women coming together and looking out for each other. I saw that with all 3 of those women, the police officer, Sherry.
But did you see the Black woman took the child from her? Now see that when I saw that, I said, see, this is exactly how whiteness does.
There's no village.
You use our own Black people to strip each other. That's always been the way. They didn't send Black faces. They didn't send white faces. They sent Black faces to say your child ain't coming home with you. Yeah, I caught all of those messages.
It was quite a few. Like Tyler was dropping nuggets. I don't know if he knew some of the nuggets he was dropping, because there were so many. He really did a good job on this. Mm-hmm. And the conversation that his detractors have about, can he do a movie without a Black woman being in some type of plight? These stories need to be told, Larry. They have to be told. So I'm all for it. I'm all for those stories being told. But I appreciate you coming on, brother. It's been a joy.
We talk.
I mean, because we normally do about 4 or 5 hours on a good night. But
yeah, you can make me talk, boy. I be like, I'm about to go, and then you say something and just stir me up.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna end the live. I gotta end the live because when I ended, Larry's in. So I'm gonna end the live. I will be back later on tonight, Tyesse Squad, for our Wednesday night show. If you would love to, join us, just subscribe to the official Tyesse Report on YouTube. It's very simple. The official Tyesse Report.
It's a great platform. No negative energy. I mean, you might get back and forth because one person feel it this way, another person, but it ain't none of that kind of craziness. But
yeah, I appreciate you, brother. This has been a great conversation. Brian Carn, we're gonna keep you lifted. That's all we can do at this point.
Brian Carn, I'm your friend to the end, and thank the Lord that you're the kind of person I can say you wrong on this and you ain't right on this, and I can do a live and we still cool.
Yeah,
I don't want no relationships to where I can't tell the truth on you, especially if you are out here with a whole story. So yeah. I'm glad to have people like that who aren't scared. And Brian owns my relationship publicly. That means a lot to me.
That does.
It means a lot to me because some people do not know who I am. And when people get to know me, they almost take it upon themselves like, I'm going to make sure everybody know who this man really is because he's an exceptional man. So I am, for lack of better words, honored that you publicly own me in front of other people, and I can still be myself and tell you what the truth is and what I don't think. And he does me the exact same way.
That's a good feeling.
It ain't no fallout, and it don't never come online what I know about him and what he know about me. So I like that kind of going on.
Well, that's a good feeling, and that's what we all look forward to, a friend or a brother or a sister, Larry.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, brother. And
and I want to say this, Vashti, I hate your feelings are hurt. I really do, as much as possible I can as a man. I can't feel it like another woman would, but I get it. I hope you heal, and whoever is talking in your ear, because I know somebody is, get them out your ear, delete that post, go talk to Brian if you need to, cuss him out, and then move on with your life without Brian ever being in your life again. That's what you need to do.
Don't become a GG.
Don't do that.
No. All right, brother.
Let me say this for Lee Blessed is in my comments saying that's why you defended him. He's your friend. Now let me tell you how
people. Oh my God, the Facebook
stupid you are. I'm about to make you look real stupid, Lee. My mentor, who I praised on this internet for years, I separated from. We are not in agreement on some very key areas. I will never come on this platform and speak negative concerning him, but I will say what the truth is, and I did whenever I did that video 3 weeks ago. So we're talking about somebody, a mentor. So that's beyond me and Carn having a horizontal relationship. This is a vertical and horizontal relationship. And I told the truth in honor with that. So you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's not even a great representation of my character. I have talked about people right in my life because it was online. So you just don't want to hear what I'm saying. You don't want to think about this from Brian Carn's point of view as well as the alleged victim. And so you just rather discount what I say as because I'm friends with Carn. I'm not that kind of friend with nobody to where I can't tell you the truth. And I'm not that committed to anybody more than I'm committed to my assignment and what I think is right, and the women and the children that I'm supposed to use my platform to build up. All right.
There you go. Dr. Reed has spoken. All right, everybody. Tyesse Squad, I will see you tonight. We're gonna shoot for 8:30 East Coast, 7:30 Central. Okay. Listen, we're a little late. We ran a little long today, so you'll understand. All right. So 8:30 East Coast, 7:30 Central is our start time. Again, thank you for sharing your platform on there. It means the world to me.
Please subscribe. The Tyesse, subscribe.
I appreciate it. I really do. The LRL community is family to me at this point. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see everybody tonight. Bye.
Bye.